You know, they say history is written by the victors. But what happens when it's being written and rewritten in real time right in front of us? Today, we are breaking down a presidency that's operating under a single, powerful doctrine, one that is pushing the entire global order right to the edge. And that's really the choice President Trump has offered the world: the easy way or the hard way. That one phrase, it perfectly sums up this transactional, incredibly high-stakes approach to power. Let's be clear, this isn't your grandfather's diplomacy. This is a shakedown. So, to really get what's going on, you have to tune into the news cycle, which feels like this constant, chaotic blitz of major events. So, let's run through the headlines that are defining this moment right now. First up, this obsession with buying Greenland. Yeah, you heard that right. The president apparently sees this massive, mineral-rich territory as his own personal Moby Dick. The official reason we're given? National security. The argument is that only the United States can truly secure it. So how do you get a country like Denmark to just sell a part of itself? Well, you pull out the favorite tool in the toolbox: economic warfare. A threat was made to 8 of our European allies, a 10% tariff on their goods, which would jump to 25% if they didn't play ball. The move sent total shockwaves through the global markets. And okay, the administration has backed off for now, but that threat, it's still just hanging in the air. Next up, an attempt to just reshape global institutions entirely. The idea was to create a board of peace to handle global conflicts, basically making the United Nations irrelevant. And the guest list was something else. It included an invitation for Vladimir Putin, an indicted war criminal. The immediate fallout from all this? $800 billion in aid for Ukrainian reconstruction was suddenly frozen. But this kind of raw power play isn't just happening on the world stage. It's happening right here at home. We're seeing reports out of Minneapolis of federal ICE agents in unmarked vans abducting people off the street, and that includes naturalized U.S. citizens. This is what that new doctrine looks like on the ground. So you have a land grab, you have tariff threats, a kind of shadow UN, and these domestic crackdowns. These are not just random chaotic headlines. No, they're all connected. They're all part of a single coherent philosophy that is actively changing America's role in the world. And here it is. This is the source code for everything we're seeing. It's being called the real estate doctrine. And it's a pretty simple idea, but it's totally revolutionary. True security only comes from ownership. This isn't about having allies or partners anymore. It's about having assets and making acquisitions. This really paints the picture, doesn't it? The American eagle isn't just a symbol of freedom or a partner on the world stage anymore. No, under this doctrine, it's being repositioned as a kind of global landlord, looking at the world not as a community of different nations, but as a portfolio of properties, some to manage, some to leverage, and some to buy. And what this doctrine sets up is the central conflict of this entire presidency: a full-on battle between raw, unchecked presidential will and the very institutions that were designed to limit it. I mean, look at this. On one side, you have the world order we've known for decades, built on institutions like the UN, alliances like NATO. And on the other side, you have the Trump alternative: personal boards, economic threats, and one-on-one deals that completely bypass the old system. It's a head-on challenge. And that fight, that institutional conflict, is hitting home in a really big way. This number, 3,000, that's the number of federal ICE agents that have been deployed in this massive domestic immigration crackdown. It's bringing that battle over norms and power right to our own streets. And here's the consequence of that. When institutions are challenged from the very top, it creates this belief on the ground among federal agents that they can operate with, and this is a quote, absolute immunity. It raises these huge, profound questions about accountability and justice. And the administration has just kept pushing, threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act. That's a law that would let the president use the military on U.S. soil. The target? People they're calling professional agitators. It would be a completely unprecedented use of military power against civilians, and it pushes our legal norms right to the breaking point. So you have to wonder, how is all this happening right out in the open? Well, a big part of the answer is mastering the art of the spectacle, using all this drama and over-the-top rhetoric to totally dominate the news cycle and distract from what's actually being done behind the scenes. Let's go back to Greenland. Publicly, the president just dismisses it as, quote, that piece of ice, right? It sounds so casual, almost like he's joking. But behind the spectacle, you find the substance. That piece of ice is actually a huge, resource-packed territory with incredible strategic value in the Arctic. The casual, dismissive language? It's a smokescreen for a very, very serious geopolitical goal. And this is the strategy in a nutshell. While European allies are getting ready to hit back with massive sanctions, and while civil rights are being debated here at home, the president shifts all the media's attention to his plans for a new presidential ballroom. The spectacle becomes the story. And it works. It completely obscures what's really at stake. So, when all the daily noise and the headlines finally fade away, what's left? Let's just pull back for a second and ask the big question. How is this era going to be remembered? And what does all of this tell us about the future of this political movement? As the president gets closer to his 80th birthday, a lot of eyes are turning to the one man who seems perfectly positioned to carry that MAGA torch forward, Vice President J.D. Vance. He's being very, very carefully set up as the successor. Just look at the roles he's playing. He's the chief defender, always out there battling the media. He's the point man for the administration's most aggressive policies. And then he's also the diplomatic soother, the guy they send out to manage the, quote, hurt feelings of our allies. He really does embody every single part of this new political doctrine. Which brings us to this final thought. What we're witnessing is a fundamental reshaping of American power and its place in the world. It's a story that's unfolding with unbelievable speed and enormous consequences. And so, the question we all really have to ask ourselves is this. When history is written in real time, who is holding the pen? And whose story is getting erased?